All set? All right, we'll go ahead and get started. We'd like to welcome Matt McCarty to the interview room here at the WM Phoenix Open. Matt, this is your hometown. You're born here, raised here, call this home, and now you're playing as a PGA Tour member and winner. What's that got to be like?
Yeah, I mean, it's really exciting to be here, and, obviously been here a ton just outside the ropes, and really cool to be inside of it, and, playing the golf course, and with all the people and the atmosphere and everything, it'll be a lot of fun this week.
And tell us a little bit about, I believe you were a standard bearer once at this tournament. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I did that a few times growing up and in high school and stuff, so, I've been inside 16 with all the fans and everything, but haven't hit any shots yet, so, but yeah, really excited, and obviously growing up here, know the course really well, and, kind of more on an even playing field with a lot of the guys that have been out here a while. So, yeah, it'll be a lot of fun.
Are there any key memories, any moments from PGA Tour players either that are still on tour or past that stick out to you in your experience here on site?
Yeah, we were holding the signs for Ken Duke, and I remember he was like, a lot of guys are kind of like locked in out there, but I remember he was kind of talking to us, walking down the fairways and stuff, and, I thought that was a really cool experience, so, but yeah, just like have fun and kind of interact with the crowd this week is kind of a good goal for me, I think, and, yeah, just enjoy it as much as possible.
Does your former experience as a standard bearer, does that make you treat your standard bearers any different now that you're on tour?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think with just all the kids and everything, like I'm not, crazy far removed from that, from wanting golf balls and gloves and whatever. So, anytime I can do that and, see a smile on their face, it's really cool for sure.
Okay, and then state of your game coming in, Matt, you made history this past fall, winning in just your second start as a member after that 3-victory promotion on the Korn Ferry Tour. Just what's the whirlwind been like since this past fall?
Yeah, I mean, it's been crazy, kind of took me a few years to win kind of at every level. College took me a couple of years. Korn Ferry obviously took me like 2.5, and then, to kind of get out here and get it right away was kind of surreal, but, kind of keep digging deep and, kind of got kicked in the teeth a little bit, the first month out here and, learned a lot, but just, excited to kind of be back in the desert, comfortable environment and, really looking forward to it for sure.
Okay, with that, we'll get into some questions. We'll start with Dan Rappaport in the middle.
So we had Luke Clanton in here earlier this morning, and he's kind of the other end of the spectrum, where a wonder kid winning at every level. I mean, there's still obviously room for development like yours in this game. What do you attribute to? How have you gotten so much better compared to all of your peers?
I mean, I think just honestly being on the Korn Ferry, like you learn a lot coming out of college, like how to travel, play 25, 26 events a year. But I was always kind of a late bloomer, like, went to Santa Clara, kind of like not like a big school, kind of late bloomer coming out of high school. So, learned a lot. Like my first year out, realized I needed to get a little bit longer, like take better care of my body, get a little stronger. So, and then just kind of everything that comes with, playing 4 rounds of competitive golf and kind of, making a cut is obviously important, but then also keeping the pedal down on the weekend is, the biggest thing. So, yeah, definitely learned a lot. But, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, golf, obviously getting a lot younger, but I think there's, a lot of guys that play their best golf, kind of in their, 30s too as well. So, but, yeah.
I'm curious about the differences in golf courses. How would you describe PGA Tour setup versus a Korn Ferry Tour setup?
Definitely a little bit longer, more demanding off the tee for sure, a little firmer. Kind of, you don't have to shoot like 7, 8 under every day, which is nice, but, it's a lot harder to shoot 3 or 4 under. So, yeah, been a bit of an adjustment, but I think kind of coming off there, how to go deep and kind of like learning how to do that is good. But yeah, I mean, I think you honestly play a lot tougher golf courses in college than you kind of do on the Korn Ferry. So it's kind of going back to that. But, as hard as a golf course can play, and when I think an advantage of my game is like being able to kind of think and manage myself around, 4 days. So, I've liked it, that it's been tough. So, yeah.
We're going to go here on the left.
Matt, when you're here as a standard bearer, as a fan, do you remember ever having visions, thoughts of competing in this tournament one day?
Yeah, definitely. I think came out in high school, obviously, and came back a couple times in college, and, so it'll be kind of different coming out here and, not having a bunch of beers on the weekend and everything. But, yeah, no, I mean, grew up, wanting to play in the stadium, and so, I mean, it's a really cool experience. I think very unique for us as golfers as well. Obviously, the environment here is so much different, but I kind of grew up, out here, and this was like our local tournament. So like I just thought golf was kind of always like this, and that fun atmosphere I think is great for the game, honestly, too. So just really excited to be here.
And you practice out of TPC Scottsdale regularly, don't you?
Yeah. Play and practice out here for the last 3 years. I didn't play stadium a lot growing up. I played across the street a ton. I mean, we could walk after school in high school is like $15. So I've played champs a lot more than out here. But the last 3 years since getting status and everything, gotten a lot more familiar with it for sure.
I don't want to make like too big of a thing out of all this, but does this feel like it's going to be, I don't know, even a cooler, more surreal experience than any of your PGA Tour starts to this point?
Oh, yeah, 100%. I mean, I think this is my 9th event, so being back home and obviously kind of getting to sleep in my own bed and everything will be great. But, yeah, I mean, this is the biggest tournament for me outside of the majors this year, so I'm looking forward to it for sure.
Matt, what did the ticket requests look like this week?
There were quite a few. The tour took good care of me, though, so we got enough for everybody, and it'll be nice to kind of have a lot of people on my side and, make a bunch of birdies and kind of get everybody going. It'll be fun.
Do you have an idea of number of friends and family that are going to be following you?
At least 28, but no, there'll be a few more than that, I think. A lot of people, I mean, even just walking around the last couple of days, a lot of people that I, kind of didn't even realize were coming. So, it's been fun. I mean, I had more people follow me yesterday on a Tuesday practice round than, any event I've played in for the last, 3 years. So it'll be a lot of fun.
I'm curious, like, your rise over the last year has been fairly unique, but going to kind of your grip and your upbringing, I mean, did a lot of people try to mess with your 10-finger grip over the years?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit. I've had the same coach since I was like 12, 13. So, I mean, kind of, I tried to change it, and then, when I was younger in high school, it was like I kind of hit it the same, just a little bit shorter, so there's really no reason to. It tends to get a touch strong, on occasion. That's kind of my tendency, but I think that's better than it being weak for sure. So, I mean, I'm very comfortable with kind of, how I do everything and, got a good team around me and everybody, so, kind of sticking with the same thing and not trying to make too many changes for sure has been good, and I think it's been a big reason why I've kind of been able to improve every year, and, especially like kind of last year coming down contention, just being very comfortable with how I do everything helps when, nerves get up a little bit for sure.
Last one, you brought up Santa Clara, but just a kid growing up here, was ASU kind of the thought when you were younger and in high school of what you wanted to do collegiately?
Yeah, definitely was not going to go to U of A. My grandpa played football at ASU, so we grew up, huge Sun Devil fans. But yeah, I mean, I kind of wanted to get out of the Valley, honestly, for college and just experience something new. But, in high school, I wasn't good enough to, play for them. Mickelson was the coach at the time and, didn't really, give me the time of the day. But, I mean, I'm really happy with the way that everything worked out, and I think everything happens for a reason. And I kind of learned how to, going up there to Northern California, definitely learned how to play like kind of a different style of golf. And, you grow up here, you don't really play out of thick rough and wet grass all the time. So I think, how everything's worked out, I think it was all for the best for sure.
Thanks. Good luck this week.
Thank you.
Go to Kevin in the back right.
Hey, Matt, I was wondering if you recall either the first time you played in front of a sizable crowd or, like, had fans you were thinking about while you were playing, or, like, when that resonated with you, that people were watching you play.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, probably, like, early, like, Bogota, my first year on the Corn Ferry, was probably, so, like, same week as this. It was probably, like, the biggest crowd, I played in front of at that point. But, yeah, I mean, the Corn Ferry has some good events, but, obviously Black Desert was kind of the most people I'd ever seen, especially, like, late on a weekend. So, but I think it's fun, and when you're, like, out there competing and a lot of people are watching and, kind of, you hit a bad shot, you get booed, and you got to be able to shake it off a little bit. So kind of, looking forward to that for sure.
What do you remember about that vibe in Bogota, since it's this week? I know there's a lot of kids around, and it's a pretty lively scene.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing, you just kind of get hounded, like, for your entire bag after the round, I would say, more than anything. But no, I mean, it's just cool, and I think especially, like, going down there to kind of see, like, you're far away from home, but, a lot of people still same game and same, similar 18 holes in the ground, and kind of cool to see that for sure.
And I was talking with your coach, your instructor, Dave Williams, and he talked about how you guys have actually talked about, like, acknowledging the crowd and trying to, like, be more just engaging with the crowd. And I was this week's a unique week to ask you about that. But for you, like, what does that entail in terms of interacting with the crowd and your process of kind of giving back in that regard?
Yeah, I mean, I think when I'm having fun, I play my best golf. So, like, I think that comes along with it, especially here, and, you know, having a lot of buddies and family falling around. I think the vibes will be high. But, yeah, just to kind of, you know, enjoy the moment as well, I think will be big for me. Like, kind of, you know, obviously, you know, that 30 seconds before you hit a golf shot and over the ball, like, laser focused, but then also just kind of enjoying the atmosphere and, you know, grew up wanting to be out here. So kind of having fun with it this week more than anything will be important.
And as a football fan, what's your theory on why the Chiefs are so good?
I mean, Patrick Mahomes for one. Yeah, I don't know. Andy Reid's a hell of a coach, but yeah, it'll be a good game. I don't really have a dog in this fight, but I've kind of flipped, come full circle. It'd be kind of cool to see a three-peat during my lifetime, so I don't know. But we'll see. Hopefully I'm playing good enough golf where the Super Bowl is kind of an afterthought this weekend.
Is there any comparison between Scotty and the Chiefs?
Yeah, I mean, very elite, very good every week, and just win a lot. So that's the comparison.
Kevin, if you'll just, to Dylan right there.
Do you have any advice for fans coming out this week? Spots to go, stuff to do, secret hideouts to check out?
Yeah, I mean, so I had a good buddy in high school that he actually worked out here, you know, was one of, like, the bad guys, and we kind of, like, would weasel our way in, always find, like, he'd kind of create, like, a little gap in the fence for a couple of years in high school, so we'd, you know, show up on 16 at, like, 5 o'clock in the morning for a couple of years, be, like, the first ones out there. But, no, I would say I liked kind of getting away. I mean, it gets pretty chaotic around 16. I'd always kind of liked standing off, like, 7T, you know, that par 3, watching guys hit shots in there. Always liked going out, you know, you kind of get out to like 13 green and nobody's out there. It's a fun hole to watch people play. But yeah, I mean, if you get claustrophobic at all, just kind of stay on the front nine or the outskirts and you'll be okay.
We're going to go back left to MK.
Hey, Matt. Through your Corn Ferry Tour finishes, you also got exemptions into the Players and the U.S. Open. And with this being your first time, it's kind of your year first. Out of those three, which one are you most excited about that you've highlighted the most?
I think all three are highlighted for different reasons, but this is definitely, you know, outside of the majors, I would say this is a big one. I played in the U.S. Open a couple of years ago at Brookline, missed the cut by one, so I think that's kind of circled for some redemption this year as well. But, yeah, I mean, just being comfortable with the course and, you know, the atmosphere this week and just, you know, I think this is the most exciting tournament for me all year, so it'll be fun.
And then final thing with your card, what is the best perk that you've experienced or received just within the last 6 months?
I mean, I think the courtesy car every week, just showing up from the airport and not having to wait in the line at Avis compared to the Corn Ferry has been pretty nice. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, there are a lot of cool things that come with it. I think, you know, kind of the access that we have to some different courses, and you know, you call up to a nice place and you tell them that you're on the PGA Tour or you've won out here, and you get treated a little bit different than, you know, playing a developmental tour. That's for sure.
Any other questions for Matt? All right, Matt, best of luck this week. Thanks so much.
Thank you.